What would it look like if we made community a priority? I mean, really, if we got offline and made connection in person, or if not anything else, and being offline wasn't an option, how could we be more intentional with our connection with people? Connection is really the currency of influence. If we want to make greater impact, then we need to connect with and collaborate with others. So, what would that look like? Thank you for joining me for today's conversation on cultivating courage, but specifically in the way of making brave connections and building community and relationships offline. Now, granted, I know in this world that we're in today, it's very difficult to do things offline and find a level of consistency in creating space offline because online is convenient. It doesn't require for you to get in your vehicle or really schedule time to get there and all the things in between of coming in person. But what we miss out on in coming together in community in person are those real relationships and thought-provoking conversations and real intentionality around building relationship and having those aha moments and conversations that really resonate with each other. So today I'm here to talk about what that would look like if we decided to make brave connections. And I have two things specifically that I want to share on our end as Go Brave. But before I get into that, I want to introduce myself because if you're new here, you're probably wondering, who is this girl? Well, my name is Jaleesa Dallas, and I help individuals and organizations cultivate courage, especially in how they live, love, and lead so that they can break barriers to their success, bolster their belief for greater confidence, and build courageous behaviors to optimize their life within themselves and in community. So I am grateful that you are here. And before we get started in this conversation, I want you to do me a favor and like, comment, subscribe, and share this with someone you know, because I'm sure that they are going to be blessed by it or find some things that they can really implement in their lives and take action on it. Because as we're talking about community, connection, collaboration, and relationship, it's necessary in this day and age because there is too much going on in the world to where we need to rely on people. And I know sometimes we deal with some people who challenge who we are, our very being, but I think that helps us to become better. So before I get on a rabbit trail that I did not intend, let's get into the first thing. So I have been creating community, not necessarily offline, but where I have created an ecosystem of connection by way of regularly communicating on a weekly basis with my email subscribers. So again, this one is not necessarily offline, but it's very intentional. And so this intentional approach has helped me to stay connected with over 500 contacts over the past year. I have communicated, as I mentioned, weekly with my subscribers and shared with them resources, tools, strategies, and opportunities to connect with myself and community on a regular basis. And so with that being said, I have an opportunity that I wanted to share for free for individuals, especially those in business, those who want to stay connected to their community more often and not so much on social media or on these platforms. In the event that things get shut down, bans like TikTok happen, or you get hacked and you lose your profile, this will help to minimize any disruption that you might have as it relates to connecting to your community on a regular basis. So I am facilitating a session called Beyond the Scroll, and essentially how to future-proof your marketing when it comes to your email and text messaging system. What I have done is created a ecosystem framework to identify free tools and resources to help you to capture individuals who are interested and want to know and trust you in the area for which you are an expert in. They want to stay connected with you. They want to build a relationship with you and be in community, and how to use value to get folks to come into that ecosystem, because in that space you actually can control it. You can control how often you communicate, how often you engage, and you don't have to be reliant on these social media platforms for sustainability, for visibility, and for your income. Because a lot of times I know that our platforms are associated with dollar signs and our incomes. But in the event, for example, of the TikTok ban, how it was shut down, a lot of people lost their followers. People who had hundreds of thousands of people that they connected with, who likely did not have an ecosystem that they controlled, lost all of that support. So now everybody is essentially having to start over. Now, granted, I don't know all the details about TikTok because literally I only had it for 24 hours. And it was because my sisters and my mom begged me to get on for something that I didn't really quite find helpful, but nonetheless, I was only on there for a short time. And so for those who have lost literally everything as it pertains to those platforms, I'm sorry. However, now that it's back up and running, make sure that you have an ecosystem where your audience can live in the event that something like this happens again. So that's what I mean with being intentional with building brave communities. Number 2, I am offering, for those who are new to me or not familiar with what I do, as I mentioned, helping individuals and organizations cultivate courage, but I specifically work with high achieving women of faith, those who have a strong relationship or desiring a stronger relationship with God, and those who are seeking community to keep them accountable to that, as well as strategy as it relates to their businesses, being leaders in corporate America, or being in the community and having some level of leadership and authority in that space, and those who are non-profit leaders as well. And so I have created a community of accountability that is something that is online and offline. Again, a part of this ecosystem that I'm mentioning. But in this space, we are going to talk about what it means to be a leader and what that looks like in faith and what that looks like in our life, in our relationships, as well as in the capacities for which we lead. And so in this space, there's a level of accountability where we'll talk about the basics when it comes to doing business and building an organization, business acumen, visibility, all the things, marketing. Now, granted, I am by no means saying I'm an expert in this space, but we will have experts to come in to speak on these various topics on how to be successful in corporate America, again, in your entrepreneurial endeavors. And then we'll also have Bible studies, and we'll have resources to actually implement the things that you're desiring to fulfill in this new year. Because I know we've all set some goals, even made some resolutions that I hope we are sticking to. And I believe what has helped me is to have a community to keep me accountable to these goals, these plans, these aspirations, these visions that I have established for the new year. And if you don't have a community to support and help you along that road, then I suggest for you to connect with what I am calling the Brave Space Mastermind. And the reason why it's a mastermind is because it's intended for you to collaborate, connect with, and have conversation and community with the women in the group. Granted, there's going to be training opportunities. We'll have subject matter experts come in and tell you about how to do things well in business, but then there'll also be a Q&A where we can have a discussion as to maybe some of the ideas that you have, some of the challenges that you're facing, some of the issues that you're not sure how to proceed. We'll talk through what that is and then how you specifically can move forward. Now, granted, I know some people are afraid of community because people have been hurt. People are offended. People are frustrated because they let other people in, and now there's a level of trust that they don't have. So in this particular space, though I can't control how people show up and how people participate, I do expect for there to be confidentiality. I do expect for there to be respect, but also we have to keep in mind that there is no one in this world like you. And if you come into this group with an idea and your fear is sharing it with other people, remember that you are the only one that God has likely given you the idea in the way that He's given you, because you are uniquely assigned, tasked to fulfill this idea. Now, even if you shared it and someone else executed on it, it's never going to be like how God intended for you to implement it. So keep that in mind. The only people we should be in competition or in comparison with, especially competition, should be the old person that you were. The person you were the day before, the week before, month, year, whatever. That's who we should be in competition with. How are we becoming better moving forward? So again, 2 things to consider as we think about brave connections and building relationships offline. Though the first one is not necessarily offline, it is about being intentional and building community. And that's by way of developing your ecosystem. And I don't believe I told you the date and time of that, but that is February 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern. I'll share the details in the description below. And then second to that, being a part of our mastermind, the Brave Space Mastermind, because my goal is to help you to become strong and courageous. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Joshua 1:6-9, but Joshua had to be reminded on several occasions by the Lord, by the warriors, by the Israelites to be strong and courageous because God was with him. God had called him into the position of leadership. And so I encourage you to be strong and courageous. And I believe this space will help you to do so while also building your business, while also building your confidence and helping you to step into your purpose, your call, the assignment that God has for you. I want you to stay tuned because over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to do a series on Joshua 1, where God speaks to Joshua about taking on the leadership after Moses' death, how to lead, how to be in expectation of the presence of God, and how to move forward in being strong and courageous. So I would love for you to join me for this series. And until then, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this with someone you know. I would truly, truly appreciate it. And be sure to let your soul work be your best work to a better you. Have a great one.